Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host Rebecca Barr and I'm so excited to have you with me here, just kind of sharing the ramblings of my brain essentially right now. That's kind of how it feels. Just behind the scenes, there's a lot of collective energy that has come together that's culminated in basically a level up in terms of my brand, my messaging, and a real period of expansion for me as a coach, as a woman, as a mother, and all the things. And also as a leader in the coaching space right now, because I am a coach that has been around in some capacity or another for a really long time, which, you know, a lot of coaches haven't. There's a lot of lockdown coaches, people that have built their business over the last few years. And I feel like my longevity is testament to the fact that I'm always looking at ways to grow. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And anybody that's been listening to my podcast, you'll probably feel that shift as well. Definitely, I'm getting clear on who it is that I want to serve, the value that I want to bring to the table. And I feel more passionately than ever right now that I need to bring you tangible steps that you can go and practically implement into your business today to actually get you closer to making money, because that seems to be something that I'm realizing. The more that I invest in high-level masterminds and really great communities of women, the more that I'm realizing is there aren't actually that many women right now, particularly in coaching and other service-based business spaces, actually making any money. And that is just something that cannot happen on my watch. So I'm feeling really cool to bring you a lot more value around the kind of different ways that you can get to the same income. Because what I've realized is that this space is quite saturated with people that are telling you there's only one way, and if you don't follow this signature system or this proven XYZ framework, then you're not going to make any money. But what I've realized from years in business is that actually there's hundreds of ways to make money, and it's about finding the strategy that feels really good to you. However, there is one basic principle that you cannot get away from if you actually want to make money. And that's what I want to share with you today. So just to take things back a little bit, when I first started in business, for anybody that doesn't know my story, and again, I've been figuring this out behind the scenes, there's a lot that has led me up to this moment that probably gives me a unique take on my business and on my clients' business and on business in general and the online space, as we all have a story that I haven't really been sharing. And I think that's part of my growth, that's part of my expansion, but also part of my healing. You know, I did have a very turbulent childhood that is quite difficult for a lot of people to relate to, because there were very, a lot of extremes that perhaps people can't relate to. But there's also some common struggles and victories and all of those things that a lot of women will be able to resonate with, because we've all been in these situations where we felt disempowered or not good enough or unloved. That is universal. A lot of us would have felt like that. So I'm feeling more called to start bringing forward these stories so that you can really see why it is that I'm so committed to this work, because genuinely, this is my passion. It is, for me, everything starts and stops with money mindset. No matter how many different strategies I can share with you that feel aligned to you, that's aligned to your human design, it all comes down to money for me, because money equals freedom. And money for me means making good choices and having great boundaries and doing things your own way and living life on your own terms. When you have no money, all of that goes out of the window. You cannot make good choices. You're always operating from a place of fear. There is no joy, because you're always in hustle and fear mode. And I don't want any woman to have to go through that. So that is my commitment to this work and being part of as a collective. You know, as anybody within the coaching space, the more money that I get into the hands of heart-led women, the better the world is. So part of me really articulating that message is by reconnecting with myself and the stories that have led me to here. So just want to take it back a second then to when I first left corporate. that wasn't my decision. I wasn't and I've realized this as well on my journey, that a lot of women didn't necessarily have that entrepreneurial spark. Whilst they might have felt like, oh, there must be more to life, or there's something in me but I don't know what quite it is. They weren't, like Richard Branson or Gary Vee, where it was like, I was a born entrepreneur. I was always going to do this. I always wanted to do this. Absolutely. I always, on the sidelines, admired people that did. I always, definitely was drawn to people that were really successful, but more like from a point of morbid curiosity, like just watching them as if they were celebrities on the TV, and something that was completely separate and unavailable for someone like me. So when I say about money mindset work, this work is daily, because this journey has been since I was 4 years old, and it's something that will never end. With every new level of success, with every new income level, with every new type of income stream, there'll always be something else that needs to be worked on, and a new belief that needs to be healed or reprogrammed. So when I left corporate, it wasn't my decision. I tried to start some businesses on my various maternity leaves, but I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know anything about business coaches, social media wasn't really a thing. Like, I tried to maybe do a few things, Google a few things, nothing had really worked out. And I was always having to retreat back to corporate because it was never enough money to support me and my children. So what happened was, though, it's like I don't know if anybody's listened to Oprah on her podcast. She explains about a moment in time where if you do not listen to the nudges that the universe is sending you, the nudges will get louder and louder till at some point it is literally like being hit over the head and your whole world collapses. And that's essentially what happened to me. So I had my corporate job. I was quite happy, single parent, pottering along with 3 small children then. And I had my clear career path in my mind, had my mortgage, had my house, like I did all the things that I was supposed to do. I was still working full time, still traveling into London and acting as if I didn't have kids, basically, because I just didn't feel empowered in any way to set any demands as it related to my business. Probably wasn't getting paid enough, but still very dutifully doing what was expected. And then I went to drop my kids to my mum's one morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, tottering down the path in my heels with the kids in tow. I think I had Riley, who was my youngest, in a car seat, dragging that along, ready to go to work, like mentally preparing my journey and what I needed to do. And my mum had a stroke. And that was the end of my corporate career. Literally just like that. I had no backup plan. I had no warning. She wasn't sick. We didn't know any of this was coming. And, it was a time well before COVID where home working was a thing. Nobody at my job at that time was willing to even consider part-time or flexible hours or anything else. So I literally had to sell my house and go into business. I was frantically searching for a business that I could buy and found one, relocated, literally had to go all in. But I was scared to death, obviously. Like, I had a bit of a buffer because I'd sold my house at a profit, which was great, but essentially lost all of the safety in my life, which was something that, was just my driving force. Like, I had my first mortgage at 18. And after having a childhood where I was literally bounced around from family member to family member, having that stable home was so important to me for my children. And here I was, relocating them 2 hours away, and with no plan B, like literally no hope of success. And I wasn't a person that I would tell you was very good at sales. I wasn't creative. I wasn't particularly extroverted. I bought a barbershop. Like, I had no business being in that barbershop. I couldn't cut hair, didn't know what the hell I was doing. But all I knew was that I had to do something. And this was like the best of a bad situation. So I just had to go all in. So what I realized very quickly was, however, that I have to make this a success. I've got to bring in money. Like, there is no fucking option. I've got nobody else I can rely on. Nobody's coming to bail me out. it just is what it is. So I realised pretty quickly that the shop as it was just not working. It was a £10 barbershop, which means that it cost £10 for a haircut. And that was pretty much all that was on the menu. The poor guys that worked in there were working, it was 7 days a week, and they were working from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. So I could see quite quickly, this is not a sustainable business model. Like, genuinely, the shop is absolutely trashed. The staff are absolutely shattered. And the amount of people coming in and out, like, you're only then as ever good as the weather in the high street, or, you know, whoever happens to be shopping that day. That's not a sustainable business model. You know, I can't be that helpless. So I looked very quickly at, I need to increase the prices. How do I do this? Because really what I needed to do was increase it to like £25 haircuts to really make it worth the while for me, for the business and for the staff. I needed to attract a more discerning client base, but obviously you can't just change the prices overnight and expect that everybody's going to be like, oh, okay, more than double. Yeah, no worries, that's fine. So I really needed to get to know the client base that was in the shop. Like, what would they actually pay for this? Like, what are they valuing right now? What would make it worth that £25? And I really leaned into, like, what is the journey? What is the experience? What are the little touches that I could do that would really make it feel like a more special experience? Because not only did I increase the sales by doing that, I also increased the loyalty and the retention. So where before we would just, you know, had a really great location and anybody that happened to be shopping in the high street would pop in for convenience. Instead, we moved that buyer's psychology to, I'm going into Kingston to go and get my haircut at the barbershop because that one's really great. So I added things like, we got an alcohol license so that the men that were coming in could have a beer. We introduced like different packages so that when they were in, not only were they getting a haircut, they were buying like other services on top. So we increased like the skill set of the staff so that we could offer more services like hair dye and wet towel shaves and hot towel shaves and all the things. I then packaged the prices so that it would encourage dads coming in and bringing their sons. So I was marketing to the wives as well as the husbands. I brought in a product line and other product ranges that gave us a great brand authority. So aligned ourselves with other brands, so that it felt, from the very moment that they walked in, it felt worthy of that £25 price point. And it was incredible. I tripled the revenue. I also got an award for excellence. But essentially what it came down to doing was understanding, where is the value in my business, other than just the fact that it's a really great location. What will people actually pay for, and what do they really not care about? And that was something that I kind of learned through observation, but also through feedback. So asking my clients. So that's what I would love for you to do right now. If you're feeling like, this just doesn't feel like a good fit for me right now, like I am ready for my next level client, I've done my time, but I'm looking for something more. Understand the psychology of the people that are going to be buying from you at that price point. What is it that they want? What is it that they value? And what will they actually pay money for? And that is such a powerful lesson, because I've actually lived that in practice and it works. Because that's when you then go away and do a shop refurb and come back with a brand new price point. People are excited. They're part of that process. They feel invested and they will reward you with all of those things. And obviously that's how I won my award for excellence in business, which was just such a great thing for me, because I didn't even fit the criteria of that category. Hadn't been in business long enough. So this was in my first couple of years of business. So the first year I went to the awards and just basically, you know, there to pay respect really to the other people that were more established business owners than me. But quite quickly I realised, when I looked around the room at the people that were successful and doing the things that I wanted to do, not even necessarily in the same business as me, I realised that, you know, they all knew each other. You know, there was a lot of power in being well connected, even just in a physical business, but also in an online business. That absolutely has been my experience too. So a lot of what I do with my clients, I'm applying old school business principles that I have learned from the ground up, both intuitively, actually on the ground and learning it, but also by networking with old school business owners that made their fortune. And again, through my own clients, by testing my theories and seeing what works. And I think that's the good that's the thing that kind of people need to understand right now. That's the missing piece in business for a lot of people when it comes to sales. It's going back to the basic principles of sales psychology. And why is somebody going to pay me for this, And it's going back to the old school methods of just having a conversation with somebody and understanding what it is that people want and what is missing right now and what are their frustrations, what are their pain points. And then equally, how can we just have a conversation? Whenever I work with clients that are going out and doing beta launches or new programs or a slight pivot, we already sell out our programs before we even do a social media post. And that's what a lot of people don't realise. Selling can be very easy. We love to overcomplicate it online, and we love to believe that it's funnels and it's emails and all of the great things and really snazzy, like sexy sales pages. But you can actually get a lot further and a lot quicker money in your business today just by reaching in somebody's DMs and starting a genuine conversation. And that's what I love now. So rather than trying to be like everybody else, like every other coach, by adapting my behavior and my intuitive beliefs around what actually sells and how you get people to buy something from you, instead, I've actually gone back to my old school methods of just having a conversation with people. And when I work with clients, when we do our beta launches, I've got clients that have literally sold out programs and memberships time and time again. I've got multiple clients that have done this, and they literally don't have an email list. They've got no social proof because they've never run it before. They've got no sales list, emails, lead magnets. They've got no social content. There's literally nothing. They have just gone straight to the point of making money and making genuine connections through personal reach outs and DMs. And that has given them a greater conversion. So it means they've completely sold out their programs. And a lot of the times we put these barriers to actually even getting that far. So we'll spend so long creating like thoughtful, aesthetically pleasing content on social media because we think that is and we remove ourselves so much from the process of selling and being with our customers because that's comfortable. And for a lot of it feels awkward. But let me tell you, there's nothing more awkward than going into a barbershop as a 5-foot pregnant woman and having a barber who is 6'4", tattooed, half drunk, like ranting over, like standing over you and ranting at you, telling you you've got no business of being in this business. Let me tell you, that's really fucking uncomfortable. But once you've been through that level of resilience and you've got that sense of, boundaries. I was nice for the first couple of years in business. I was an absolute fucking walkover. Everybody could like any new member of staff that came in would tell me, oh, we only work with this brand. You've got to work with this brand. I'd invest thousands in stock and then they wouldn't sell it. And then, I would have another one that's like, oh, you don't need to open late. No one comes in. Okay, let's close the hours. Then I would miss revenue. I was literally so at the mercy of what my staff were telling me, which I guess in the online space translates to what other people are telling you and other coaches and other people, how they're running their business, that it wasn't until I literally built that resilience up in myself and I realised, fuck this shit. I'm wasting so much fucking money from everybody else telling me how it's supposed to be. I am going to find out for myself. And I literally spent so much time on the shop floor earning my stripes and really learning my business and speaking with customers and reading like magazines of the industry, going out and meeting other people that were in other parts of the UK and that were industry leaders and learning from them. So I always have invested in mentors. Because I always understand that if I'm the smartest person in a room, I'm in the wrong fucking room. And I've always valued teachers and mentors that can show me the way because I'm not about wasting time, but equally there's a part where you have to learn it for yourself. And I would literally go and study. So again, I had a business partner as well. And he would often, again, tell me, oh, the barbers are saying this, the barbers are saying that, nobody's buying right now. The high street's dead, da, da, da. And I'd be like, they have no vested interest in making this work. They get a day rate. They get paid regardless. They don't care if we're making money because they are getting money and they're fine. So I don't accept what people tell me. I will always go out and find out what is my opinion and what is my interpretation of what's going on in the market. And that's when I obviously decided that it's because we're lowballing ourselves with this £10 barbershop. It's got to be the more discerning client that isn't dependent on the weather and everything else. It's people that actually value a really great fucking service and they'll travel into town for it. So And then what happened was I obviously then spent time studying the people that were selling products. They were the ones that we'd incentivized with commission. Those were the ones with the high energy that could literally sell a comb and the fucking scissors off their station. You know, they were the ones that you really wanted on your team. And if they were the ones that, if they were still making money, we were still good. So all the other people that were using excuses saying, oh, no one's buying, da, 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 I would know it was them because I've still got my best sellers still selling. So regardless, so that's what I kind of want you guys to do. That's what I want you to, is to really build that resilience up in yourself and get to know your own industry yourself. And then if it really genuinely feels like people aren't buying right now, go back to business basics and start having conversations. Because once I'd relaunched the business, initially you obviously get that backlash where people are like, oh, I'm not paying this and I'm going. So the footfall dropped. But what I'd been really good at doing was actually getting out there and starting to spread my message with, starting with the local businesses, with the Chamber of Commerce, the people in the high street, and letting them know that we're having a refurb. It's going to be really exciting. We've got loads of great changes. The service is going to be amazing. Like, you need to stick with us. And then I always think marketing is like an onion. You always start with like your hot leads, your obvious sales, which would be your previous clients. So if you're about to launch something new, who have you worked with before? Give them a personal reach out, connect with them on email, send them a DM, check in, because anybody that's bought from you once is 80% more likely to buy from you again. Sometimes we miss those obvious sales because we're thinking about people that haven't even met us yet. We're always thinking about the masses rather than the micro. So business for me is all about being in the micro as well as the macro and looking at the bigger picture. And then once you've exhausted that intimate list of hot leads, it's about expanding it out and then exhausting that lead. And then so the people that have inquired before, the people that have been curious, the people that perhaps wanted to buy a program before but didn't have, it wasn't the right fit, it wasn't the right opportunity, going back to them with a personal invitation for something that's coming that's new. And then obviously then expanding it out and, building authority with your audience and all of those great things and content marketing. But genuinely, if you can't master the art of being obsessed with your business, so much so that you are happy to jump into a DM and talk to people about it because you understand that selling is serving somebody and they need what it is, the solution that you have right now, you are never going to make any money. No amount of Facebook ads and passive income and Instagram hacks and viral content will ever truly translate to sales if you cannot connect with people on a one-to-one. And that has been the biggest lesson for me. I have literally gone from that one-to-one, yep, I can talk to anybody and convert them, to then going all the way out where it's like driving traffic, cold traffic, to free challenges and doing all the things. And now, I don't know if it's just because I've been in business longer and I prefer that more high-touch, intimate container and actually, giving a shit about who it is that's in my energy. It's now about, I'm building a legacy and a brand and a business that really represents me at my core. I've now sort of brought it back in where it is that more high touch and more intimate conversations and making sure that people that are coming into my mastermind, for example, I'm about to open the doors to that again. Obviously, if you're interested, come and find me over on Instagram and let me know. But that is going to be a really beautiful container of like 10 women. I don't need everybody. I don't need hundreds of people. I just need the right women to be in there that really want to build wealth. Like, that is what I'm all about. This isn't about just having enough money to pay your bills. It's about paying for your children's bills in the future. It's about putting your money to work. So you're not working for your money's working for you. It's about stepping into that CEO role. It's about being discerning. It's about being a badass bitch, if I'm honest, and just because, like I say, you make better decisions when you're coming from that place of financial empowerment and independence. And that's what I want. There is nothing more satisfying than knowing that you could afford anything that you want. And if you choose to not buy it, that's absolutely fine. But you know that you could if you wanted to. That's a pretty great confidence. It brings a whole new vibe to your energy when you're in that place. So for me, that mastermind is all about the personal invitation and the women that are genuinely going to bring good vibes and energy and value to the collective that are in there. And that feels really exciting to me. So obviously that's something I'm working on at the moment. And I won't be putting that out on cold traffic. I won't be putting that out on ads, because it's something that, like I say, I need to work with these women in this container for 6 months. That's a lot of time and energy from me, but also from my clients. Like, I'm very protective of my clients' time and energy. I only want the women with them that are going to lift them up, inspire, motivate, support, cheerlead, do all the things. So again, if you're interested, let me know. Come and find me on Instagram, because that's only going to be for a select. I think we've only got like 3 places left potentially, because I've got 7 clients in there already. So it's only 3 that I'm looking for. But if that sounds like yes, you are speaking my language, I'm bringing in wealth, growth strategists and experts from many different fields. So property, crypto, stocks and shares, tax efficiencies, like all of the things. I'm bringing in like the elite growth experts that are going to help you to build that wealth too, which I am so excited about. But even in my academy, you know, I don't need thousands of women in there where I can't even get to know them or their business or really add any value. I'm not here to take people's money, because there's always easier ways to make money. And coaching is just one aspect of my brand and my business portfolio. And I would love for you to, again, rather than feeling like you've got to sell all the things to anybody and these low ticket offers, really value your time and your energy and your soul, and lean into the select few women that you'd actually really love, like really light you up. And you would just, oh my God, I'd love to work with her. It would be amazing if I could help her. Like, lean into those people and revert back to the old school business methods of tapping people on the shoulder and giving them a personal invite, of nurturing your audience through genuine conversations and connections, and actually not putting so many barriers between yourself and that person, and just make it really easy for somebody to work with you. Let it be a hell yes for them. I always say, let your yes be a hell yes, let your no be a hell no. And those are the clients that you want to work with, really. So hopefully that makes sense to you, to really just revert back to some of the old school business methods that I've mentioned about really getting to know your clients, focusing on the quality rather than quantity, not being afraid to get in and have those personal reach outs and genuine conversations and connections, and protecting your peace and your space so that you're not having to work with hundreds of clients, just a really select few that feel really great. And then obviously, once you've got that money in your business, it's about what do you do with it? And then it's about coming over and finding me either in my academy, which is going to be launching soon, which is the Lined, Empowered and Abundant Academy, or in my mastermind, which will be where we'll obviously be speaking about those high-level wealth generating activities and strategies to grow your wealth. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you like it, obviously don't forget to leave me a review and share it to anybody that you think might also be interested in that opportunity as well. Have a fantastic day, ladies, and I will speak to you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.